Hi there. Welcome to the Unitrends on-demand demo. Today, we're going to talk about how the problems that IT staff are facing today are having a huge impact on the business continuity and disaster recovery plans of all these IT staff like yourself. I'm then going to show you the 3 different approaches Unitrends has to trying to effectively, easily, and reliably protect all of the different applications and services you're using despite this IT sprawl that's happening. I'm going to then show you how you can manage it all from one interface in a really effective way that gives you more time to work on other production-related activities and still know that you can reliably recover your infrastructure no matter what happens. Let's get started. So first, here at Unitrends, we've seen a lot of problems that IT professionals are facing. Data has been going dramatically faster than IT staff, and all sorts of phishing attempts, malware, ransomware have been threatening the productivity of businesses throughout the globe. In fact, 90% of businesses are considering ransomware a critical threat to their organization. And that's not all. With the increased options of SaaS and hybrid cloud solutions, we find that more and more IT staff are responsible for this huge IT sprawl. No longer is data consolidated just to the data center. And so you need to make sure that with this IT sprawl, you have a way to be able to protect your data no matter where it might be. And simplifying the business continuity and disaster recovery of the IT sprawl is vital to a good solution that's going to be able to ensure business continuity for whatever IT related needs your business or department might have. That's where Unitrends comes into play. We're an all-in-one enterprise backup and disaster recovery company that merged with Kaseya in 2018. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. We serve over 5 million businesses together and protecting over 2 exabytes, and we provide a complete solution stack from technology to infrastructure and DR services at a 98% customer satisfaction rate with a 95% renewal rate. Let's talk quickly about our advantage. So, Kaseya focuses on all aspects of IT infrastructure and security management and provides a holistic approach to managing IT. We call it IT Complete. Backup is the largest individual portfolio, and it's a major driver of the platform strategy. And being a part of this platform gives us a major advantage against our competition. They don't have access to over 30 additional security, automation, and document technologies like we do. And we're not just integrating these technologies, we're not just bundling them, we're making them an integral part of how the product works. And we're going to provide ways to solve problems with backups and DR that our competition would have to build from scratch and simply will not be able to do. So our advantage under backup and disaster recovery is providing a complete solution that's able to protect everything, no matter where the data is, that's agile so we can do different approaches and not have a one-size-fits-all approach, and make an innovative way to ensure that recovery makes sense for what you need with your business continuity and disaster recovery solution. Let's take a look at what these 3 approaches are. Specifically, we have the hybrid cloud appliances. These are our integrated hardware or virtual appliances that provide purpose-built DR as a service as well as offsite retention. We even offer public cloud IaaS backups and DR as a service. Next, a lot of people are moving to SaaS platforms such as Office 365 or G Suite, and we have a solution to be protecting those SaaS workloads, getting the data cloud to cloud, and we can protect Office 365, G Suite, and Salesforce at a native API level that ensures you can back up and recover that data no matter what happens to the production environment. Lastly, Unitrends has a direct-to-cloud backup solution, where we can go directly from remote laptops, desktops, whatever's needed, and send that data directly to the cloud. It protects that edge data and roaming networks, and we even can utilize this for cloud-to-cloud IaaS backup and DR as a service as well. And you've heard me mention tying this all together. Unitrends rolled out UniView. It's a brand new way to be able to effectively manage all of your backup needs in one single place. Your hybrid cloud, your SaaS backup, and your direct-to-cloud all are contained in one login where you can access all of your data and recover whatever needs you may have, no matter where you are in the world. So first, I want to talk about the hybrid cloud approach. The hybrid cloud approach provides the confidence and ability to recover no matter what disaster comes your way, wherever the data is stored. I'm going to show you how we have the ability to test the recoverability automatically, which can then cut down on that administrative time of doing backup tests over the weekend and provide it all on a consolidated platform that's easier to manage than other solutions. And since we have multiple ways of backing everything up and protecting it, we're going to offer multiple options to fit the business continuity objectives and whatever operational budgets you might have. Let's look at some of the advantages that the hybrid cloud approach provides. First is our recovery assurance. Backup testing is one of the most important parts of any backup and DR solution, and recovery assurance is an automated way to do recovery testing for simple or complex environments. What Unitrends can do is we can spin up your backups, log into them, and test down to the application level across multiple machines to verify that not only was the backup good, not only is the recovery good, but the application, the business need you have for those machines works. It provides an accurate testing time to prove in a report, hey, this is the time it takes to recover, and this is how old the data is. Gone are the days of having to wait for that quarterly or yearly DR test. This can now automate that process and do it for you once a day, once a week. Whatever needs your organization has, the recovery assurance can be able to do that for you. Next, we talked about how 90% of businesses are worried about ransomware. Well, Unitrends has a three-pronged approach to trying to protect ourselves from ransomware. First is we try to prevent it. Preventing Unitrends appliances getting infected with ransomware is vital nowadays. Some ransomware variants are trying to go after specific holes in backup solutions to try to make sure that the individuals infected do have to pay the ransom. So Unitrends provides a hardened kernel with a CentOS backup appliance, so that way you are less likely to get infected with ransomware. On top of that, we provide early detection. Since we're already backing up your environment, we're going to use artificial intelligence to go in and automatically see if we find any scenarios that look like they're out of the norm and provide an alert that's proactive when we believe there's a ransomware condition that might be existing in one of your assets. Then you can go in, mitigate it, and clear it out before it infects many others. And lastly, we can provide the confidence in the recoverability. Any security webinar you go to, the first thing they're going to say as a part of a good, secure way to combat ransomware is to have good, tested backups. What better way to do that than with the automated ability of testing your recovery with recovery assurance? The last piece I want to bring up is Helix. Unitrends has a new tool called Helix, which is a self-healing tool for the assets that you're protecting that's going to enable healing for your backups. What does this mean? It basically means that Helix can save days of troubleshooting production issues with automated operational efficiency by simply going in and preventing backup failures before the backup failure happens. Helix agent can go and monitor, detect, and remediate complex conditions in the environment that would cause a negative impact in that backup and recovery. And the Helix tool can also be working on the Unitrends appliances to help with certain recovery needs or updating and other low-effort tasks that take time away from productivity with your IT staff. It's a powerful automation and a SaaS management tool that can interact with the appliances and machines. So let's look at what the infrastructure looks like with this hybrid cloud solution. First, we're going to deploy a physical recovery series appliance or the virtual Unitrends backup appliance at the same site of the data we're going to be protecting. Unitrends supports backing up all sorts of data, virtual machines at the host level, physical servers, hyperconverged infrastructure, NAS devices, even AWS or Azure instances. We can protect any of these, deploy locally, store the data. Data is then deduplicated and compressed, and then can be retained on the appliance for a set amount of time that you have the storage available. Once that's backed up and set, all recoveries are going to be available, such as individual file recoveries, full instant recoveries, even replica options are available. I'm going to show you more on that when we actually demonstrate the product. Once the data is stored, I need to get that off-site for a good solution. We have the option to copy the data to a local target, such as a local NAS or SAN, maybe a removable hard drive or tape, all these cost-optimized options that you can get stuff off-site, but does require manual intervention to actually remove it and follow the 3-2-1 rule. Unitrends also offers multiple ways of copying the data over the internet, or what we call a hot backup copy. These options range from a secondary site that is either a colo or could be even deployed in AWS or Azure, and the recoveries are available there, all the way down to sending the files simply to some kind of blob storage in AWS or Azure. Right in the middle of all that is the Unitrends Forever Cloud, where we can serve as the offsite target, long-term retention, and optional DR as a service, where we can fail over servers in our cloud at different SLAs that are guaranteed to you. And then you can recover and run out of our cloud while you recover your local environment and then bring the data back. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the hybrid cloud appliance looks like. I'm going to show you the dashboard, how quick it is to set up, show you how the backup setup occurs, all the recovery options that are available, and how you can get that confidence in your recoverability with recovery assurance. Let's take a look. So first, I'm going to log into my UniView portal. As you can see here, I have access on the left side to my Unitrends backups, my Unitrends Direct to Cloud backups, and my Office 365 backups. We're going to talk about all these in a second. Right now, I'm going to focus on the Unitrends backup. So here in this portal, I can actually look at all of my appliances that I have over all the sites or customers that I'm managing. And all of the warnings are sorted right here in my backup IQ. Here I can see any failures are all going to be prioritized and pulled to the top. And I can easily go through and find out what issues are currently plaguing my infrastructure. Hopefully none, but I can prioritize and start addressing them immediately. On top of that, you can see here, I have a backup threshold. Unitrends can alert you if it's been a certain amount of time since the last successful backup, providing a proactive meaning of, hey, I haven't been able to back this stuff up in the last week. It's a great way. We're going to set an alert right up in here. You can go in and see why those backups aren't running, recover it, and move on with your day. The whole goal is to be easy, effective, reliable. We want it to be quick and easy. We want it to be effective in the protection and the recovery, and then reliable, so you can rely on the actual recovery. Once I want to actually look at the individual assets, I can actually go to my individual appliances within this portal. I'm going to come here to the Appliances tab, and I can see all the appliances I'm managing. With a single click, I can actually go right over to the individual appliance itself. Here, I'm at the site level of my Unitrends appliance. So this is managing the individual appliance. And this is the main dashboard. I can see any errors that occurred, size of the backups, whatever issues may come up, I'm going to be able to view them right here. And this is one of my favorite parts, the Recovery Assurance Report. Here I can see I'm currently within compliance that I've set up, and I'm meeting my RPO and RTO. If I want to find out details about this, I can simply click this. And this is going to bring me to my compliance report. Here, the compliance report tells me that this job has a set RPO, so I want to maintain a 24-hour RPO. I'm within that because it actually is a little over 12 hours. And my RTO, the time I want to recover, is 1 hour, and I was able to do it in actually 8 minutes. And I can dive deeper to find out what this test was actually verifying. I'm going to come here to the Recover tab under my reports. And I can see this individual job. What we're doing is not just showing you a login screen, not just powering on a machine. We're doing multiple machines together and testing the data and the recoverability between them. It's a much more advanced approach, and it's so easy to set up. So here I can see I'm powering on 3 different groups of VMs. I'm testing different applications on each of them. Here's my DC server, testing that NTDS is running. SQL, I'm going to check for the specific SQL instance. I can even run a query against it if I'd like. And then my application server, making sure that it's working, that both are authenticating and the application's actually able to run. Once that's done, I have a good idea of how long the recovery will actually take, and I can then use this as my kind of compliance report to verify that I can recover. A great tool and really effective way to understand your environment. I'm going to show you in a bit how easy that job is to set up, but so neat that I can get at a high level how successful my backups currently are because of their recoverability. So let's get started with setting up the backup jobs. I've already got the agents installed on machines that I want to back up, or I've added the hypervisor hosts that I want to take snapshots of. I'm going to come here and create an SLA policy, one of our easiest ways to manage backups. The way it works, I simply come in, select the type of backup I want to do. Let's start with VMware. Here I can see my host, select a few VMs, and I can edit and choose which virtual disks I want to include. From here, all I need to set up is my RPO. My goal is 24-hour, boom, I can put that in. 8-hour, 12-hour, I set that here, show the backup window, and hit save. And that's it. I can use my SLA policies to build a tiered approach to backup. Do a gold, silver, and bronze. Have some things with an RPO of 4 hours, some with 12, some with 24, and I can move my VMs or other backups around to meet whatever pieces I want to be able to do. Once I've done and created the SLA policy, then the backups are going to be running right from that job, managed from the settings I have there, and I can easily go in and edit them at any point. Let's say you want a little more customizability around your backups, not a problem. We offer manual custom backup schedules, which can be created right here from the Job Manager tab. I'm going to create a backup job, and from here I select the type. Let's go with this time, I'm going to do an image level backup. So here I can see all the machines that are currently have an agent on them. Bring them down, select the Windows-based backups, and I'm going to be able to choose which volumes I want to back up. From there, I can set up my own customized schedule. By default, Unitrends is going to use incremental forever, just like it would with the SLA policy, where we run one full backup, and from there on out, we just run incremental backups with any subsequent backup. This reduces the load on the production machine because we're going to do synthetic fulls on the Unitrends appliance. The whole idea is to get the backups, get them off the production quickly, so that way your production servers can serve up production like they should be. If you don't want to use an incremental forever, you want some other kind of strategy, come here to the custom tab and you can set up your own super easy way. I can do fulls on any kind of date with a reoccurrence that I want to be able to do. I can do daily. I can do incrementals every few hours. Whatever you want to be able to do, you can easily configure and set up here. And this is important because of how easy this is to set up. Means you can adjust and change and have it meet your needs. And that way your backups are whatever you want them to be, not some way that it's designated for you. Once I've got my backup jobs done, we're going to let them run. I can check the status of how my backups are doing under the Protect tab. Come here, and I can see at a quick glance what backups have run. Green check mark is a success, yellow question mark's a warning, and a red exclamation is a failure. As you can see, looks like my backups are running pretty well. I can click on any of them and hit the detailed log. And here, if there were any failures, I would get the error messages right here. Now, even though I can log into the appliance and grab this here, all this information is going to be emailed out in a report, or can even be integrated with certain PSA tools so that you can actually get access to those logs, the failure reports, and all of that without even having to log into the appliance. And that's important. The whole idea is to be more effective as an IT staff when it comes to business continuity, and here's one of the great ways that Unitrends provides that. So, backups are running well. Looks like everything's going how I want it to. Let's look at some recoveries. Now first, I'm going to come to my backup catalog, and I have all sorts of options for recoveries. Let's look at one of my file level backups. Here, I got an Ubuntu server. I'm going to go in, and I want to recover files. Here I can browse the directory, grab any folders or whatever I might want. I can click and drag them over, and I'm basically building out the files I want to recover. Once I have a selection, I come to the next tab, and I can select any asset that has an agent on it to recover to. If I want to go from Ubuntu to my file server, I can do that no problem. I can pick any directory I want to put in. I can browse the contents of this directory and find exactly the folder I want to recover to. Let's go with this temp folder. And then I can run any commands I want to, overwrite. All these settings and tabulations are available for whatever you might want to be able to do with these recovered files. Let's say I want to recover something more complicated. Let's take one of these VMs, for example. Let's go with my application server. What I can do is once I check off the backup I want to do, and note my backup are filtered by the date over on the far side, I select it, and then the recover files option becomes available, or I can recover the whole VM. This recover button will send the VMDK to the target storage I designate and spin it up once it's there. But if I want something faster, or I want to audit that backup, I can use instant recovery. The way instant recovery works is I'm going to take that VM and I can actually send it to the data store, but I'm going to use storage vMotion for VMware or live migration for Hyper-V, where I'm going to spin it up immediately on the Unitrends data store and then migrate it while the VM's online to the target data store I put here. And I can even use this for an audit mode where I don't actually transfer it, but I can spin it up and then check in on the recovery right away. So here, for example, I'm going to do this. This is the app1 restore as a part of our test. Go ahead and hit save, and this is going to automatically begin the recovery process. Now let's go ahead and log in, take a look at what that's doing over there. So here's my vCenter. Give this a second. Boom, I got the creation of the virtual machine. It's completed. So I've got app1 restore here. It's creating the snapshot. I'm going to recover the data to it, reconfigure it, and it's going to power it on. I can actually monitor and watch this machine as it turns online. And this is running on my virtual appliance. So whether it's a physical appliance or virtual appliance, this is already running. And see, it is booting up this quickly. And I can then utilize and test to make sure my backup was good, make sure all the applications I backed up were successful. This is how easy I can manually test this if I wanted to. And look, right from a backup, it's already getting ready, and I just need to log in. And there we go. That's how simple it is. So really effective ways to be able to manage all of my infrastructure that I want to be able to do. Now, we talked a lot about the different recovery options. We have a few others out there, such as our replicas, but the last thing I want to show when it comes to recovery is actually using our data copy access jobs, that recovery assurance, as a part of a recovery scenario. So here's the data copy access job that I can create for that recovery assurance testing. Not only can I use this to run the tests that we looked at, but I can actually use this as a part of the failover. And if you look, I actually can have these green ones are the successfully run tests, the backups that have been verified. This means it's a certified backup. I know it's recoverable because I ran the test for it and it met my specifications with the tests and with the timing. So when I go to recover it, I can pick these, hit save, and it's going to run in the proper order, boot them up, and get them live without me having to manually go in, configure this and do that. I can do the re-IPing. All the information is available right within the interface. So it's going to do it automatically rather than requiring that manual piece in those disaster scenarios we need to recover everything. Let's take a look how easy it is to set up one of those data copy access jobs. So boom, I can select certain backups. Let's do the same thing with the DC, the SQL, and the app server. I then come here, I set up a profile. I've got a 1-hour RTO. And I'm going to then define the schedule, how often I want to test it. Once a week seems good to me, at 3 a.m. on Sunday. And then here I can set the different tests. Let's look at the app server, for example. This is where I can set up the boot order, any power on or CPU or memory I want to adjust from the default. The credentials would be needed to be able to log in. I can even choose what location. If there's a specific resource pool or data store or network I want to utilize, I can set that here. Same with the re-IPing. I can choose what network interfaces are going to be utilized. And then lastly, the tests. As part of the recovery assurance test, this is where the different application tests exist. I go in, select the pieces that I want. Here, for example, is that SQL query, and I can set up the server name, database name, username and password, and the query and expected output. Add this to the job, and boom, you've got a super easy way to automate that recovery testing process. This recovery assurance is one of the game changers, and that's a real way to be able to ensure your recoverability and give you that confidence that no matter what comes your way, you're going to be able to recover. So before we leave the hybrid cloud approach, I want to show you just a few more reports. Obviously, the compliance is one of your big ones, but you can also check out what you're backing up. Here we've got a capacity report where I can see how much data I'm actually protecting, and I can sort it by how big my different assets are. We also offer, this is one of my favorite reports, is the protection summary. Kind of tells you what you're backing up, how it's gone, what's being protected, what's not. And it's a great way to kind of make sure at an overview you're protecting and doing everything you want to be able to do. Am I copying the backups to the right place? Here I can see a cold backup copy for DC1. Here I can see I'm replicating for DC1 as well. I want to make sure that I'm meeting whatever business continuity needs that I want to as a part of this process. And that's what Unitrends tries to provide. As you can see, we provide truly an all-in-one approach. Very easy, very effective way for me able to back everything up, and you can guarantee your recoverability through that automation with recovery assurance. So, what does the hybrid cloud approach provide for you? It provides an all-in-one solution that can protect and recover your entire environment. We just looked at a few components, but we've got support for all sorts of different Linux operating systems, iSeries, VMware, Hyper-V, Citrix Xen Server, Nutanix AHV. We can then provide automatically confidence in recovery capabilities with recovery assurance. We didn't even get a chance to get into, but Unitrends has its own cloud solution with a white glove DR as a service that provides a secure system that you can recover to using VPN or site-to-site VPN to run out of while you recover your local scenario. On top of that, the Unitrends box itself is a secure system that's resistant to attacks and resilient enough to recover from them, and it's all backed by an awesome support organization. Not to mention, we have all sorts of automation tools that we didn't even get a chance to show you, such as like Helix, where we can automatically update the appliance itself. But managing everything is super simple, and that's how it should be with business continuity. You should be able to recover when you need to, set it up easily, and adjust as you change. Because as we can see, IT is changing dramatically as we go. So that's the hybrid cloud approach. Now next, I want to talk about SaaS backups. Unitrends knows it's important to protect integral SaaS workloads quickly and effectively. Office 365, G Suite, and Salesforce are the cornerstones of many businesses today. And being able to ensure that you can back up the emails and the data stored in the OneDrive or Google Drive means it's a part of a proper protection for a business continuity solution. Those are vital because that's important data that has now moved out of the data center and into this IT sprawl. Now, one of the most important things, though, is email recoveries and file recoveries is one of the most requested pieces of an IT admin. And if you were able to have self-service restore like the spanning solution can provide, it means you give your IT department time back to be able to move on to more productive means for generating revenue or cutting losses or whatever your department needs to be able to be doing, rather than recovering in single email because Fred keeps asking for it over and over. So, where does spanning come into play? Basically, 77% of companies that use a SaaS application suffered a data loss incident over a 12-month period. So that means that even if you move to SaaS, data loss still happens. And it turns out we're on the hook as the IT department. The vendor's responsibility exists for hardware, software, natural disasters, other things that may happen, but they're responsible for delete requests, which means that any human mistakes, configuration mistakes, programmatic mistakes, malicious insider, hackers, ransomware are all on the IT staff to be able to recover from. So that means that if you're not protecting your SaaS solution, then you are vulnerable to data loss. And you don't have to take my word for it. These are exact quotes from the different service agreements with Microsoft, Salesforce, and Google. So that's where spanning comes into play. Spanning is the tool that allows you to protect any of these cloud workloads and with a few clicks automatically and on demand back everything up, and then you can recover it right back into the user's mailbox, or even if you have an admin view, you can recover to another user, get whatever data and find exactly what you need to ensure that your data is protected and recovered. Not to mention, spanning provides infinite retention. So the day you start with spanning, we will keep every single backup that you have all within one price without having to manage the underlying storage. You can really close that protection gap. Make sure you're providing the same level of protection you would if the data were local as you are for your data in the cloud. Not to mention you can reduce that cost of recovery and meet whatever compliance you may have, whether it's external or internal, to ensure that you're recoverable. It looks like this. Your end users are running out of their data on Office 365 or G Suite or whatever, they can access their spanning portal right from within the cloud. It's a cloud-to-cloud approach where what we do is we're going to back up through a secure API request, which means that you are not exposing yourself with a dummy account, for example. And the API request then takes the data and natively backs it up and stores it in AWS. The best part, no AWS management is required as a part of the spanning solution. We take care of all of that for you. All you need to do is worry about the licenses of the users, and Unitrends and spanning will take care of the storage and all the other costs associated with that. Let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm going to show you how easy it is to manage, how effective and easy those recoveries are, the self-service portal where end users can use it themselves, and I'm going to show you one of the IT Complete integrations we have called Dark Web Monitoring, where we're going to be able to monitor the entire domain and check for any credential leaks so that you can know whether or not someone's credentials have been leaked to the dark web as soon as it happens, and you can change their credentials before it's too late. Let's take a look. So here I am in UniView. I was in my portal grabbing my Unitrends appliance. I'm going to click right over to Office 365 Backup. And here is where I can manage all of my sites if I have multiple tenants. And I can even purchase and move licenses around as needed. Here you can see this one, I've got 100 licenses, 33 users, and there's 4 of them assigned. And I can check at a glance the last successful backup of SharePoint, OneDrive, emails, calendars, and contacts. And with a single click, I can go right over and see the status and actually manage the individual tenant. So boom, here I am in spanning itself. I can see the status of the different backups and scenarios, and I can actually click on any of these accounts, and this is where I can begin checking out the recoveries. I have the option to issue a manual backup right away, or I can view the current backups. Now, this is the recovery view. I'm looking at mail, and I can access any point in time the recoveries I want to be able to do. I can go back as far as I have ever been in this environment, so I'm going to go back to January, and I can view the mailbox exactly what was that date. And I can pick the emails I want to recover and simply restore them. Or I can export them and download them as a zip right here and put the messages wherever I might want to do if I don't want to recover them within the tenant. If I don't want to go date by date, I can also search for specific content. Let's say I want to search for cloud. Here are all the emails that I've ever backed up that have cloud in them. And I can check off which ones I want to recover. Same thing, restore them right to the same user or send them to a different user. Since I'm in the admin view, I can do it to a different user. Now, all of your end users have access right within Office 365 to the self-service portal, which is literally just this part here. Where they're going to be able to browse their own mail, calendar, contacts, or even their own OneDrive. And the same rules apply. I can browse through whatever folders I want to, access what I need, and then move on with my day. Here. And to recover that, easily do that to wherever location is necessary. Recovering all of these is so simple and so easy. We also offer SharePoint backup too. Spanning can back up site directories from SharePoint or even the site directories created from team sites. And the same rules apply. I'm going to pick this spanning team site, come here to view the backups. I can browse through any of these folders and grab the assets I want to be able to do. From there, same rules apply with recovery. I can then go in and restore them to the same site collection or recover them over to a different site collection. Super easy, and again, infinite retention. You don't need to worry about the storage being used. It's all managed behind the scenes by spanning it themselves. The last point I want to make sure to bring up is the dark web monitoring. Now, credential leaks are one of the easiest ways that ransomware can get into our environments and wreak havoc. With all the credential leaks and people tend to use their password across multiple accounts, we want to make sure to limit the exposure if anything gets out. That's exactly what can be done here under the dark web monitoring. Here, spanning will be constantly checking the dark web and scanning for any credential leaks. If anyone on your domain shows up with those credential leaks, you'll get a report and it'll show up here. And then you can go in and manually change that user's password, and that way you can get ahead of any leaks, so that way you aren't exposed, and you can find out as quickly as possible. A great integration, you already have your email and other information reporting in here. What great tool to add that you can ensure that if any credentials are leaked for whatever reason, you can get to it immediately. And if you're worried about what people are doing snooping around, that's where the activity report comes into play. Admins have a lot of access to information, and that's why we log everything in this completely immutable log that cannot be modified or deleted and is not stored locally in any way. Here I can see what I was looking at, which files I did, and if I did any restores, they'd all be visible here. So if you're worried about people seeing individual emails or snooping around, you can actually log that and see what happens right here. So it's a great way to make sure that with this power comes great responsibility. And as you can see, super easy to manage. So hopefully that was a great sneak peek at what Office 365 Backup can do. As you can see, deployment is as simple as putting in your admin into the spanning portal, and we will begin creating the tenant and backing everything up for you that you select. We can save time by having the end users recover their own emails and OneDrive with that self-service portal, and there's no management behind the scenes. Super easily allow spanning to go in, back everything up, store it, and let them worry about the management, but get your data cloud to cloud so that you know you can recover no matter what happens to your tenant. And we can provide the proactive monitoring for any leaked credentials that make it out to the dark web. What a great way to ensure that you are not only protecting the data, but also protecting your users and what other infrastructure that those credentials may be able to unleash. Now, with ransomware specifically targeting SaaS backups as well as laptops, ensuring you have a way to protect everything is key. And that's where the last approach comes into play, the direct-to-cloud backup. We're utilizing similar technology to our hybrid cloud approach to backup and recover from anywhere. Again, providing zero backup infrastructure management with an easy-to-deploy agent that can go on any endpoint management system that provides efficient backup and recoveries. So, first, why are we even bothering with the direct-to-cloud backup? Why do we need to back up laptops and desktops? Well, there's a lot of devices you need to back up, and there's a lot of wasted time when it comes to a deleted file, a deleted email, a deleted PowerPoint, or even a lost laptop. All of that data is sensitive, and frankly, it's expensive to lose. The loss of a single laptop can cost up to $47,000 due to lost time, lost data, lost productivity, the cost to fix, the potential violations of compliance. All these things can cost a lot, and the risks are ever increasing, especially with how much remote work everyone has moved to. So you want to find a solution that can actually protect beyond these synchronicity platforms of Google Drive or OneDrive, for example. You can't just use Box and say, oh, that's good enough for backup. That's just going to store the data. It doesn't necessarily protect you for long-term retention or an offsite copy should ransomware infect. And that's where the Unitrends direct-to-cloud backup comes into play. It's simple protection for everything you need. We provide a simple deployment that has an easy installation with a flexible recovery, and it's simple management. No behind-the-scenes storage again. Let Unitrends handle all the pieces. And here's how it works. All the endpoints are out there in your environment, and there's two other tools. We have the Unitrends Cloud and the Portal Access, so wherever you're accessing it, likely from one of the endpoints, but doesn't need to be. All of it is managed with our AWS instance that, again, no backwards management. And the way we protect them is we install a lightweight agent on these endpoints, which then utilizes the AWS Cloud as a director and stores the data in the Unitrends Cloud storage. The agent can be deployed through GPO or using VSA or all sorts of other tools that you can push any kind of MSI installer. Once the data is sent there, it is stored for 30 days in the Unitrends Cloud and can be recovered easily within the admin portal for the direct-to-cloud solution. Let's go ahead and demo it real quick. How easy it is to deploy, easy it is to manage, and how quickly and simply you can recover. So I'm going to go back to my UniView. I was just looking at my Office 365. Now I'm going to go over to my direct-to-cloud backup. I'm logged in, and here at the introduction you can see this is how you get started. You deploy the agents, configure the backups, and then recover the files. If you have multiple sites, that would all be available here. Let's go ahead and check off dev. The way it works is first we begin by adding assets. Here under assets, I can see all the assets I've already added to this site or customer. I can see the success of the last 10 tasks giving me kind of a percentage, so I can see the health of that backup, the last time it was seen, whether or not the backups are enabled, and then I can kick off running a full or a single backup. The ones that are checked off are going to run a full backup next time it's available. Otherwise, I'm going to run an incremental because I already have the full backup completed. To add assets, I come here to either the single installation, which will download a PowerShell script I can kick off and use the agent for on my local machine, or the bulk installation, which gives me a PowerShell script to integrate with pretty much any RMM tool. So I can go in and push that policy out using a unique token to all of the assets that I have that I'm trying to protect, such as those laptops and desktops. Once I've got the assets added in, I need to set up a backup schedule. To set up a backup schedule, I come here to the backup tab and I can add a profile. A profile is what I want to back up. Here you can see I have a bunch built out. I've got my C drive where all I'm backing up is everything on the C drive, the home directory. It can even include special ones that I want for certain customers. I'm going to do the home drive. So now I set up a job, and the job is going to contain a name, description, and I'm going to utilize one of my profiles. Let's go with the C drive. From there, I then select assets to add in to this backup schedule, and then I set up how often I want to run it. By default, we can do 4, 8, 12, 24, 48, or 72 hours. You pick whichever one you want, and then the backups will run periodically off of that time frame I set. If an asset is not available, that's okay. It will then kick off the backup the next time it comes online and it checks back in with the cloud service. So that way I can maintain as close as I can to these every 4 or 8 hours, but if the asset isn't available, it'll just simply run the next time it's on. Not to mention, there's also an auto resume. So let's say I'm halfway through a backup and I shut down the computer. That's okay. Unitrends will pick back up with the direct-to-cloud backup as soon as it comes back in online and checks in with the cloud offering. So once the backup's complete, I can check the status here in the summary view. This is going to give me a running tally of the last 2 weeks of backups, where I can see once again, green is a successful backup, gray is no backup, yellow is a warning, and red would be a failure. I can click on any of these and it'll bring me to the backups that were ran on that day. And I can see what happened to them, any issues that occurred, and even check the log as to why something had a warning or a failure. Here I can see I had a success and a failure, and that tells me I had a yellow. So even though it looks like I had a failure earlier in the day, later on I was able to get a successful backup, which means that I am now okay and that my asset is protected. So backups are done. I can verify and easily check how they're doing. Last piece is to recover. Here I come to the Recover Files tab. The way this works is pretty straightforward. I can select any of the assets I run backups of. Let's go with this one. And then I can select any of the backups that I've run that are still stored in the last 30 days. From there, I can then browse the contents of that computer on that date. So even though the incremental may have only picked up a few files, it's going to pull it together and look like the full machine that I need to recover. Here I can browse through, grab the folders that I want to, and then set up the recovery on any destination asset. I can recover it right back to the same place or even use a different machine. Set up the recovery path I want to send it to, and I'm good to go. Simply hit finish, and those files will be recovered in no time right to that target. As long as I have anything that has the Unitrends direct-to-cloud agent installed on it and it's registered in there, I can recover to it. And I can even check the status of those restores right here. I can see which restores have run, where they went to, and all that is available. And that's it. A really quick and easy way to be able to protect and ensure your environments are covered. And we've run an all-in-one dashboard to kind of see the activity of what's been backed up and any restorations that have occurred. You can see how they're doing and any other information. Here you can even get an overview of what assets are online or offline and the health of those. In this test environment, we have quite a few that have not been on lately, but it's super easy to be able to monitor this and say, oh, I have an issue, and you can go find which assets are offline by clicking and go through and see what's going on with that. Oh, Greg's on vacation. Oh, why isn't Jenny's laptop sending the backups? And you can go in and investigate very easily and find out why things are or are not working how they should be. So that was our direct to cloud. We saw how easy it is to back up and recover from anywhere with no infrastructure management, no server, no storage, super easy to deploy with a simple PowerShell, and it's efficient, providing the source deduplication and compression, not to mention the time to actually set up the backups and recovery is incredibly short. So let's tie all three of these solutions together. Unitrends is trying to provide a comprehensive solution where we can take the proper multifaceted approach to protect the entire infrastructure and users completely. That can range from a server in your data center to an email in OneDrive to files that are sitting in a downloads folder on a laptop. Making sure you have all the data wherever it is, however important it is, backed up is vital to today's business continuity and disaster recovery strategy. We can do this with the awesome flexibility, the hybrid cloud approach. We can protect specific SaaS workloads and even provide endpoint backup for protecting that local data to ensure that everything is protected no matter where it is, and most importantly, that you can recover it. Not to mention, as we saw, all of it can be managed in a single pane of glass. The unit view enables you to protect your hybrid cloud appliances and use the integrated solution there. You can then go to your SaaS backups and protect your G Suite or your Office 365 or your Salesforce instances, and check on the laptops or desktops that are now remote and everywhere. Make sure they're being backed up, ensure they're protected, and that they're recovered. So that's a lot we went over. If one or more of these approaches seem like something you're interested in, please come. You're already on the website, and check out unitrends.com/getstarted to check out demos, ways to get started, pricing information, trials, whatever you might need for any of those approaches that you want to explore. We've got it available on our website. We'd be happy to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time and interest today. Hopefully we saw some of the power behind business continuity, especially with the challenges facing us, with the threats and the sprawl that we're facing in IT. And hopefully I've been able to show you how Unitrends can help you meet your business continuity and recovery needs in a more effective, more reliable, and frankly, simpler approach.